All right, so quick thought about religion and Jesus and God and the whole aspects of it. That you're telling me that God the Almighty pretty much raped Mary, committed adultery with Mary. Joseph doesn't get the credit of being a stepdaddy. And then in a nutshell, also is kind of creepy because he fucks his mom to give birth to himself. Then has his, son of God, uh, killed to die for our sins that we haven't done yet. And it's just the one time that he's had a father being in the act of killing his son. But he stopped, I can't remember what his name was, but he stopped him. Sent an angel moments down before he, lunged that dagger in his heart, his child's heart. But he couldn't do that for his own son. After he pretty much helped Mary commit adultery, because to my knowledge, Joseph and Mary were technically married. Even Joseph is the one that stood by her, walked with her all around, slept with in a manger with her. Stood by her side, raised Jesus as the carpenter father. That's about all credit he gets is that he was a carpenter. His father was a carpenter. But he's not represented in the saints as being a saint. He's not looked at as being, something to look up to, but Mary is. And I think the Catholic, Church, Christianities believe that Jesus is somebody to worship in a nutshell. It's worshiping another God, but not really because technically Jesus Christ is God. So it's not technically worshiping another, it's not technically worshiping a false idol, but it technically is. Um, but yeah, I just been on my mind a lot. I asked some other people in there, but they're dealing with stuff on their thoughts about this. But I just find it really funny and how the Bible is very hypocritical. And then, I'm just gonna leave it at this whole question. I can go on for hours talking about religion and my belief and theories in it, but I just find it funny as how he's supposed to, this is God and he's supposed to be against adultery, he's against, you know, this and that. But in that one act, you know, I mean, and then on top of that, honestly, you have all these miracles that God did, raising the dead, necromancy, um, healing the blind, medicine, um, changing water to wine, alchemy, um, yeah, and then being a unruly child. He wants to go into church and knock over all the tables that are bringing money into the church of God, of faith and peace and love. They bring money, the devil's tongue in there, and he has a problem with it. And then, he dies at the age of 33, but it's when he was crucified. You know, I want to say there was a story about him wandering the desert, and he ends up talking with an old man that was Lucifer. But yeah, I just find it really interesting that all the stuff he did, you know, um, I know there's splitting the bread and the fish, you know, transmutation in a nutshell, multiplying a single loaf into 100 loaves, um, reality altercation, shaping reality. Um, I mean, There's all four. I mean, if you can call it miracles all you want, but what's it truly? What is the difference between a miracle and magic? What is the difference of having, gifts and divine blessings? I mean, even D&D understands that, divine blessings come from a deity, but magic comes from themselves. Everything that we're all made of feels my magic that I can draw on through myself. I mean, going off of that shit, I mean, that's what the whole Satanism, the whole church is ripping up the Bible. Lucifer would find that disrespectful, right? Ripping up the own Bible, the Holy Bible. He's not really like that, in my personal opinion. I don't think he finds that cool. He wants to beat God on his own game. But the thing is that with religion, he has power because God gave it to him. Yes, he uprised against God. Was able to apparently turn 1/3 of God's army against God. So he had to have some interesting focal points. I mean, how many angels are in heaven if Satan was able to turn 1/3 of the angels, and this and 1/3 of the angels didn't side with either side, so fell with Lucifer. So technically, he got 2/3 of God's angels. So technically, he's only working with 1/3 of his own army. And then he was sent down to hell. Well, technically, he was sent down to Earth, I believe, first, and he was to wander around us, man, like Thor was, to learn a lesson. That didn't work. And I think, ended up doing more fucked up stuff and was thrown down in hell. But I don't really think it's more of a prison per se, but more like a waiting room. I think he's able to come up here. But I also know that he works for God. He has the ability to bring out your darkest desires, manipulate, in aspects. He gives you an opportunity to lose courage. Where in some aspects, God gives you an aspects to find it. He gives you aspects to lose it. He gives you aspects to find it. Now, I'm not very religious in aspects. I've changed my mind. I'm going to make this to a religious video. But I do believe that something made us. Is that something around still? I don't know. Is he or she or them the gods or God? However, I do believe there is many. Are they just waiting around watching us? Sometimes intervening, sometimes not. Picking their favorite humans to watch over, to curse. I do think, I also think that there is a higher chamber of balance in a belief, where there's chaos, you'll find peace. Where you find peace, you'll find chaos. Where you find life, you'll find death. Where you find destruction, you'll find creation. Where you find spirit, you'll find soul. You'll find light, you'll find darkness. You can't have one without the other. Now, I do believe long ago, I do believe that balance, light and darkness was one thing, and that was balance. Nowadays, I believe there's more of a I believe it was more understood back then. I believe right now it's kind of all over the place. But chaos is not good or bad. Um, because peace, what is truly peace? In a modern day age, a way of thinking, how do we understand peace? Um, peace to be free, peace to think what you want, peace to enforce your belief on other people, peace to be what is the definition of peace? Just like, I mean, chaos is without structure, without order. But I mean, back in the day, I mean, we didn't really have governments, and we did all right. Native Americans over here didn't have a council per se, didn't have a government system, didn't have welfare. They did all right. I mean, when did belief even start, and why did it start? All this talk with alien talk. I mean, I do believe that there are. I find it really hard to believe that we're the only life out there, and if we are, then we're more in danger than we believe. If we're the only life out there, I mean, it's the same philosophy for religions. I mean, I rather that one of these religions, whether I'm right or wrong, I rather one of these religions be true than nothing be true. I mean, if I end up dying and there's no heaven or hell, there's no God or angels, magic is bullshit, faith is a joke, I die, nothing happens, then that means all this time I spent down here dealing with all this shit, dealing with my ex, fighting with it for my kids to die, to see him again, to see my mom again, is all nothing. I do believe that is an aspects of, with religion. I mean, I understand that most, and if not all, Christianity and religious people can't hold the belief of what if their religion is false, because in their own religion, that would be blasphemy. That would be denying God's, being and believe and the power of God. That would be rejecting God in aspects. So I understand that you can't bring that thought process into your heart. But without that, you really can't have a full blown open conversation about what if you are wrong. I mean, have you thought of that? I mean, I don't think you can. I don't think, just because you have that belief, you're denying him. You're keeping it all in mind and you're keeping your heart true. You believe this, have a discussion. I mean, about it, have a debate. I mean, debates and arguments don't have to be screaming. They're just two different opinions having a conversation. And a negative and a positive are not really, gonna like mesh all that well. I mean, but it doesn't mean it has to become war. It doesn't have to be hate. It doesn't have to be negative. But I mean, I don't know. It's already going on 14 minutes now. But I've been having a lot of these spiritual thoughts pop in my head. I mean, it goes along with everything in life. I mean, I'm very future, I mean, trying to raise your kids right with the right beliefs, and then protect them and guide them and let them experience life so they can understand a deeper understanding of what you've taught them, and then hope that they find the right people, become friends. You hope they find the right person to settle down with that also has decent parents that raised them right, so that you don't have to worry about them when you finally kick the bucket. when you're no longer here to hold them, when you're no longer here to, watch them grow, protect them, be that ear for them to come to if they need to talk. Because I know I miss my mom right now, and I mean, where I could use her right now. It's been doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of inner thinking, belief in who I am and what I believe and what I want, what I need. But I mean, even with this religious talk, I mean, yeah, you can even bring politics into it because I mean, our foundation on this country was founded on religion and government. Somewhere along the way, we kind of just went all over the place. But I mean, America was always supposed to be a melting pot of belief. I mean, so I don't really think. I mean, I don't really think. I think the founding fathers had a belief on this place becoming one. They had a very, I think, definitely in my kind of mindset. I think they were a little ahead of their time in aspects. They wanted a place where all beliefs and thoughts of the righteous, I think, of the honorable, of the peaceful ways of life could come, and they could debate about the good and the bad of their belief and culture, and maybe melt into a certain way and belief in government that could fully benefit all. That we could all come together and end the fighting, and the killing, and the savagery, the bloodshed, the endless war, the endless hate. I mean, over what? What are we? I mean, I've been noticing like the videos on YouTube with religion and with between heathens and pagans, for all you out there, and Christians and Muslims. I mean, the Christians and heathens were starting to bash each other on TikTok with that guy with the railroad spike. Kind of made a wedge between Christians and pagans. You got Muslims out there that are talking about their belief in a Christian foundation state, which I don't think that was what. I don't really think that's what religious is supposed to be about. But yeah, I mean, it just has all these religions are just attacking each other. Jehovah's Witness and Jewish and Catholic, and what kind of Christian are you, and what's your nationality, what's your culture, and it's not really so much to like try to understand, but more find a weakness and to take you down. You don't want to really truly understand our history, our culture, and not just talking about me, but I'm talking about I'm my dad's Japanese, Blackfoot, Native American, and Hawaiian, and my mom is German, French, Italian, Irish, and Scottish. I mean, like I mean, I don't have a race. um, my race is human. Like, I mean, I think honestly, when it comes down, and this goes even further into like, I think the only people that actually really needs to know that kind of stuff is medical background, because certain things affect blacks different than whites, Asians, But other than that, I mean, maybe crime, because let's face it, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but profiling is not a bad thing if it's done with the right eyes. But and politics are greedy. What I mean, I'm kind of going jumbling all over the place, but it's just what has happened to us. I mean, seriously. I mean, all this transgender BS. I mean, all these pronouns BS, all this gay talk, all these hormone blockers trying to get the kids, all these teachers that, what happened to the teachers back in the day? Like, why is, your sexuality and what your political views and this and all that, why is that part of your personality? I mean, what happened to, you know, um, shit, what happened to sports? I mean, what happened to women like girly things and guys kind of like girly things? I mean, what happened to the normal gay guy? I mean, what happened to the normal dyke? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm come to fucking think my way about that. I mean, there was a video of this black guy that was gonna do this dancing thing with these drags, and I'm sorry, but I'm not religious, but I have to come to like grasp that with myself and who I am and what I believe, and I mean, I don't think people are born gay. I hate to break it to you, but I don't believe people are born gay. I think that she does go against natural biology to reproduce. um, and that we can talk more about that, but yeah, I do think it goes against natural reproduction. I believe the meaning of life to humanity is have kids to carry on our seed. Kids are the greatest form and the purest form of immortality. Um, so I do think that bisexual and gay and lesbian, I think is more something we've come to um, like in a new age. Because I mean, like if you're actually really, I mean, back in the Roman time, yes, medieval life, but I mean, back in the caveman time, also relationships weren't anything like we have now. So if you want to go on a primal, and we didn't have relationships. We had that we knew Buga was Nagra's, you know, mate, and if you wind up like me, you better make sure you could take him on or he didn't catch it. I mean, like, we had straight on primal, like, aspects mindset. I mean, we had a higher consciousness, so that's why we came to understand the wheel and fire and why we were able to, you know, shape the reality we have now. But at one time, we were quite primal. It was all about survival. We didn't have phones to entertain us. We didn't have TV, internet, porn, video games, music, really. I mean, all that kind of stuff had to start from somewhere. We didn't have skyscrapers. We didn't have nightclubs. I mean, shit, we didn't even have, you know, liquor. I mean, I think we had maybe hallucinations if we accidentally ate a certain berry, but we didn't really understand, and I don't think we understood trauma, PTSD, depression. I mean, like, that was life back then. And then we came to evolve, and I guess, I mean, out of the five different Homo sapien but bloodlines we came to have human of today. I mean, and look at the world we've come to grow and build. I mean, I definitely do think that one quote that we have we could do beautiful and amazing, incredible things if we came together, but we spend so much time tearing each other down and being greedy and self-centered that we've come to destroy so much. I mean, we could make a beautiful world, but we just apparently just can't figure out the way to communicate with each other from a person to person, to man to woman, to old to young, to black to white, to rich to poor, to politician, to pro life. I mean, we just don't, I mean, homeless. I mean, we just don't know how to talk to each other, understand, and have sympathy without feeling like we're going to get walked on and used, or have everything we've worked on to get taken from us, from a homeless person breaking your house, to a guy mugging you, to the tax people saying that you missed a payment, so we're going to repo your home, to that business that you come to open up and it ends up flopping because of COVID, and now you're in bankrupt because COVID had that come at the wrong time when you were opening your business. I mean, with the war with Ukraine and Russia and China, I think our governments are a joke. I don't think our governments even own our country. I think Putin is a front. I think Trump is a front. I think Hillary Clinton is a front. I think Barack Obama. I think Kim Jong Il, or however you say the name. I think they're all fronts. I think this is a giant matrix. It's all BS. It's all, if you actually really look at it, none of our history makes sense. um, like, I think our whole existence is a giant Truman Show full of idiocracy, BS. I mean, I think we're a giant movie between, Division, Hunger Games, Idiocracy, Truman Show, and like so many others, all into one. That's our reality. And I truly do feel like I don't understand how we've come this far. Only to go out like this. Like, because I truly do believe, I think we're on our way out. I just don't see how we can go back to a normal life. I mean, I know I ramble. I mean, this video started off with just a thought process about a certain topic, but this is how my mind works. I mean, and honestly, if you actually think about it, I mean, all of this intertwines with everything. Our world and religion and belief all shape our reality that we all live in on this planet in this giant black sea of space and stars that apparently we're being shot through. I mean, like apparently our planet is just being swirled around in space in a certain geometry twirl. And then people believe that, our planet will end one day, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I mean, we will end before. I mean, I think the life will end before the planet does, for sure. Oh, that's another thing with not the code, but climate change. Like, I'm sorry, but like this whole like ice is melting and all that shit. Like, yes, are we harming the planet? Sure. Are we harming the planet that we need to freak out? No. We are not doing enough damage to this planet. Alright? We're just not. Alright? I do think we're hurting it. I do think we're causing big issues, maybe on a different kind of scale. I mean, there was a theory that I had that us taking the materials out of this planet and using the wrong way in aspects. Because I do think that we are supposed to take materials out and use them differently, like gold, magnetic, silver, copper, brass, titanium, steel, diamonds, emeralds, salt, clay. I do believe that we are supposed to be using them in a different way than um, for jewelry or putting a little gold in our computers. I mean, I do think we're supposed to be doing it. I do think that that's probably closer to how we're supposed to use them, like gold in our technology. But we're supposed to, with Nicholas Tesla, with his, frequency and be able to understand the frequency that we give off and our planet gives off. And that honestly, everything, everywhere gives off a frequency, a pulse, an energy, a heat, or cold signature, um, a positive and negative, a spark. Everything gives off a pattern and multiple patterns depending on how deep the energy goes into it. And I think it's another way of forming how old something is. I think that's more kind of how they measure out in stone in aspects. Um, but yeah, I do think we're using the materials that we're given the wrong way. Um, I do believe they were just like we surfed the sea to find other lands. I do think we were supposed to be out in space, and maybe we are, and we're just not told. I mean, maybe we have a star fleet out in space, and we're just not told about the Enterprise. Because Men in Black likes to fucking tell us that human race is not. People can understand what's going on, but the human race as a whole, they can't. They can't. You might be able to find individuals in the human race that can understand the truth and grasp the truth. But unfortunately, on a general population, a majority, we can't handle it. So, me and you, we might be able to handle the truth, but unfortunately, because of the other 99.998% of the human race can't handle it, we don't get enough. Um, but yeah, I could go on forever, but I think I'll just end it right now. Um, that's my mind and how it works. Um, yeah, I kind of just lost trail of what I was gonna say, so we'll just end it there. Welcome to my mind.